If you've ever held back from speaking up about your own work, your own worth, or your own wins because you were scared it would make you look arrogant, this video is for you. I'm Coach Lucy, and today I want to talk to you about the hidden difference between confidence and arrogance. Now let's dig. Confidence and arrogance get lumped together so often that genuinely good people stay quiet, their whole careers or relationships, terrified of coming across the wrong way. Some go silent for years, worried that owning their worth will make them look a certain way. Let's break down exactly where the line is. Here's the simplest way to separate them. Confidence is rooted in security, while arrogance is rooted in fear. Confidence says, I know what I bring, and I don't need you to agree with me for it to be true. Arrogance says, I need you to see me as better, because if you don't, I don't feel safe. That's why confident people can walk into a room and be quiet if quiet is appropriate. They don't need to prove anything. On the other hand, arrogant people often can't stop talking about themselves because the talking is doing emotional work. It's managing an insecurity underneath, not just sharing information. That is to say, one is settled, the other is performing. Now let's get concrete. Here are 5 specific signs that separate the two. Number 1 is inclusion versus exclusion. Confidence makes room for other people to also be good. A confident person can say, I did great work on this, and still hype up their teammates in the same breath. But arrogance needs to be only good thing in the room. It diminishes others to stay on top. Number 2 says feedback. Confidence can take criticism without falling apart, getting defensive, or collapsing, because their sense of worth isn't tied to being flawless. Arrogance treats any criticism as an attack because their whole identity is built on being right. So being wrong feels like a threat to their existence. Number 3 is the audience test. Confidence shows up the same whether someone's watching or not. Arrogance often needs an audience because it's performing for validation, not just stating a fact. Now ask yourself, would I still feel good about this win if nobody else ever heard about it? If yes, that's confidence. If the whole point is that people need to know, that is arrogant. Number 4 says language. Confidence sounds like, here's what I bring. Always specific, factual, calm. Arrogance sounds like, I'm better than you. Confidence talks about itself. Arrogance talks about itself in relation to someone else or measuring itself against someone, usually to come out on top. Number 5 says how it lands on others. People generally feel drawn towards confidence. It's calming, it's trustworthy, it makes you want to work with that person. Arrogance tends to make people feel small, defensive or competitive around you, even if they can't articulate why. If people consistently pull away after you talk about your wins, that's worth examining. Not to shut you up, just examine whether it sounds like pride or like looking down on them. Now, this is the reason why most people mix up confidence and arrogance. Most people mix up the two because somewhere along the way, they watch someone talk about their own value in an ugly way, so braggy, comparative, dismissive of others, and they walked away thinking the answer was total silence about their own value. But that's the wrong takeaway. The problem was never that they talked about themselves. The problem was how comparing, excluding, needing to be seen as more than everyone else. So here's what it comes down to. Confidence sounds like, here's what I bring. Arrogance sounds like, I'm better than you. Confidence includes other people, while arrogance excludes them. Confidence can hear feedback without falling apart, unlike arrogance. If you've been staying quiet because you were scared of crossing that line, I want you to hear this clearly. Stating your value isn't arrogance. It's honesty. You were only guilty of silence, not ego. This week, try it once. Say the true thing about your worth or your win, without shrinking it and without inflating it. Just state it plainly and let it stand. If this helped you see that line more clearly, subscribe and turn on notifications. This is exactly the kind of thing we untangle here every week. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.